you're wondering, how did I put the three of these guys together? And you know what, I'm not really even sure myself. I just been thinking about a couple of different things, and I guess it started with a mailing that I got from Dan Kennedy. And I had signed up for his newsletter and I think a CD about some information. I think it was just Renegade Marketing, about a year or so ago. And with that, I was able to attend a local chapter meeting, which I did. And it really didn't work for my business. My primary business is flower remedies, healing work. And you know, it just didn't work. So you know, I listened to the material, which I found interesting and somewhat, you know, provocative, and you know, I didn't pursue it. And in the meantime, I found Dennis and MLM Goldmine, and really felt like that was the way I wanted to go. So anyway, I got this mailing from Dan Kennedy, and it talked about having an opportunity to check out the chapter meetings again, the local chapter meetings. And this is Dan Kennedy, Kennedy Glazer-Fame. And so, you know, I kind of looked at it and I thought, you know what? I've really changed a lot since I started working with Dennis and MLM Goldmine. And you know, let me give it a shot. What have I got to lose? I see things in a different way, and perhaps, you know, it'll turn out differently. So I emailed, like I was asked to do, and you know, and didn't think anything more of it. They were supposed to send me information, and you know, that was like at the end, you know, one of the last weeks in September. And last week, again, I got another mailing, and this time it was, you know, I had it's a hard copy, and it had a picture of an unplugged, and said, you know, you're going to be unplugged. This is the last time we're going to contact you, and if you don't want to take advantage of this, and I can have a free book, and yada yada yada. And I realized that I hadn't heard back from the guy who ran the chapter meetings, and so I sent him another email, and that was last week, and you know, I still haven't heard back from him. And I thought, and I started thinking about, you know, I remember very clearly one of the things that Dan Kennedy talked about is that, you know, if you've already had somebody that has purchased from you or has worked with you once already, that they are usually very, you know, they're very open to perhaps working with you with another product. And this is something that you don't, you know, that you would want to pursue. Particularly, he had sent me something in the mail, so that's even more expensive. That is a much more costly thing than something online. And I also got some stuff from online. And when I opened it up, I saw a picture of Dan Kennedy, and I think that's where this all started. Is I looked at Dan Kennedy and I thought of Captain Kangaroo. So that's how I put the two of them together. But anyway, getting back to Dennis, I had an experience with Dennis too, and in some ways, you know, what happened with Dan Kennedy is how do you control the people that are working with you or representing you? So I'm sure that Dan Kennedy wouldn't be pleased. I don't think he would be. Is that I've pursued this person now twice to try to come to a chapter meeting and try out his system again without any success. And you know, Dennis's organization, you know, just like any organization, everybody doesn't represent things as quickly or spontaneously as perhaps Dennis and some other people would. And I know I've heard some rumblings from other people through the line. It's like, you know, who sponsor them? Is it working? Are you getting the adequate answers? Blah, 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 blah. But, you know, for myself, you know, I had an experience where I called the tech department and spoke to John Parrow on Friday, and he called me back within three hours. We had a really long chat. He helped me with all my technical stuff, and we even talked about more than that. We talked about mindset and how words affect thinking and attraction and many other things, and it was a really very helpful conversation. And I just, you know, it struck me as such a difference between the two, in my experience of those two organizations. And so, anyway, so I have this vision of Captain Kangaroo with Dan Kennedy, which I can't get out of my head. So, and you know, they're different, but they have some similarities. And you know, I think it's Captain Kangaroo has the mutton chops, and Dan Kennedy has the mustache, and it just, you know, for whatever reason, I thought of it. And then I saw a picture of Dennis, and as soon as I saw Dan Kennedy and I saw his glasses, all I could think of was Dennis with his glasses, his sunglasses, and it's a similar kind of a look. So, you know, and Dennis had green on, and I could think of Captain Green, Mr. Green Jeans, which is, you know, I'm really dating myself here. But the other thing, and they all three do have this in common, is that they were all very forward-thinking for their time. and they thought of very, very different approaches. One of the things Dan Kennedy talks about is to do exactly the opposite of what everybody else is doing in your area. So, you know, if everybody's going down the one path, you jump and you divert. So he's very much and shake things up and do things a little bit differently. And so he has really, you know, put lots of different changes and lots of different thoughts into marketing and just business in general. And you know, Dennis has done that too. He's taken a brand new medium and he's really projected it for people to take advantage of Web 2.0, the interaction of the internet, and lots of free sites, and taking advantage of all the free services to really promote your business, which has really helped me immeasurably. I've really, you know, I've gotten a lot more, just a lot more interest in my primary business as well. And you know, Captain Kangaroo did the same thing as both of them did. Started out young, 28 when he really was really going, when he became Captain Kangaroo and got involved in TV, realized it was a brand new medium, and that it would really be make quite an impact in children, but also knew that children needed a different kind of approach than the other TV shows on for children at the time, like Howdy Doody, and created a space for kids that was quieter, that was more gentle, a little bit more like what Mr. Rogers offered. And you guys are probably more aware of Mr. Rogers and Captain Kangaroo. So anyway, that's my food for thought. And it's interesting how you get insight in business from all sorts of different places and people. So have a great day. I encourage you to check out MLM Goldmine. You can find more information at Lasso the Moon Web 2 on MySpace. And I'm looking forward to talking to you in the future. Have a good one.